There's a fire starting in my heart. There's a fire starting in my heart. You hear the difference between those two? There's a fire. There's a fire. So I'm kind of just changing the vowel sound there. And that's because when you're singing, sometimes it sounds the best to make the syllable stronger. Narrators do this, presenters, content creators will do this. They'll say, here is a chance to look at the next blah, blah, blah. Instead of saying, here is a chance, here is a chance to look at the next. This is just a way of making the syllable stronger. Because if you say the vowel using its normal schwa pronunciation, here is a chance, and you don't connect it, it kind of sounds like you're saying like you're like pausing, like with a filler, like so that's why people strengthen those syllables when they're singing and when they're presenting information. Also, when people are speaking from a script, they become aware of their own pronunciation and change it. So that's why the can come out as the and can come out as a. But more on this topic, it's the sonority sequencing principle that in English, at least, we prefer to lead into syllables with strong consonant sounds, with consonant sounds just in general over vowel sounds. So when we're connecting two words that butt up against each other with vowel endings and beginnings, like he is, we'll use the Y consonant, he is, so that we don't break the words apart vocally. Also, you are, we will connect with the W consonant. You are. That is smooth. We don't like to break up our syllables with pauses. So that's why when I hear people say like, when esté, or like, you are, he is, like this type of accented speech, I want to offer help because it's actually difficult to understand these types of pronunciations. And it's not the person speaking's fault. It's that they didn't receive the information at the right time developmentally in order to pay attention to those differences. This happens to all of us. 7, 8, 9 years of age, our accent solidifies, it crystallizes, and the process after that is no longer automatic. So before that age, before that sensitive window is a little bit harder to open. Before the sensitive window even starts closing, that is when the process for children is automatic in speech acquisition. That's why kids, typically developing kids we're talking about, are able to pick up new languages somewhat easily, it looks like to the observer, but what's going on is a whole ton of neuroplasticity in their brains, all sorts of neuropoptosis of trimming of sounds that we don't need or care about anymore. They're not in the native language, doesn't matter, don't care about them, can't recognize them. And this starts happening at 9.5 months of age. I talk about this a lot. The Worker and T's 1984 seminal paper on language development. At 9.5 months of age, between 9.5 months of age and 10 months of age, children lose the ability to detect changes in non-native language. Children lose the ability to notice changes at about 9.5, 10 months of age between their language and another language. That means before this time, they could tell the difference. Kids in a head turn paradigm could tell the difference when a novel sound was played up until 9.5 months of age. This is the most important development that speech research has ever had. And I got to volunteer at the lab that did it. Not in 1984. Worker has had the lab for a long time. So what's the point of all this talk about language development? You can't detect a difference when your brain doesn't see that there's a difference between perceiving these sounds, non-native sounds. It's like hearing like background noise or just like sound or whatever. It's not perceived as language. This vowel thing that I talked about at the very beginning with singing, this is also why people in English usually have dogs or cats with like long vowel names at the end. Like my cat is Bodhi, right? And when I take her to the vet pronunciation is bod. It would be so hard to call out to her if I said it like that. Bod. Bod. Bodhi. So this is an English thing that we like. We like to have these like kind of strong, long syllables. When we shorten words like Lamborghini, we don't say Lamber, we say Lambo, right? When we shorten electronic mail, we don't say a mail, we say email. So we need to have these strong syllables so that the other syllables can be chill. And this is what we like to hear in English. And that's why for us, hearing pronunciation caused by accent differences can sometimes feel like fatiguing because we have to make calculations on the fly. That's our burden to bear as listeners, though. That is not the speaker's fault that we don't have enough experience in their language or in their accent that we can't quickly make those calculations on the fly like we should be able to. All right, have we talked enough about this topic? Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time.